Hey knitters, welcome to episode 186 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. I'm your host, Devin Ventry. You can find me on Instagram as Knitty McPurly. My website is KnittyMcPurly.com. And if you want to email me, I'm Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com. Remember to hydrate for knit night. Thank you so much, Cheryl, who gave me this wonderful cup. Happy Saturday, knitters. This is a crazy busy Saturday. It's Maggie's baby shower today, and so we're trying to do all the food and get the gifts wrapped and everything else. I have a great segment of Knitting with Gigi showing the finished Ferrari jacket and some details on the hat that I knit for little Constantine, who is due in a couple of weeks. And I'll be talking about that as we get moving. It has been super rainy here, which has been great because I bought a slip and slide like 3 weeks ago and we've been under water advisory, so I haven't been able to use it, but hopefully a little bit of rain means that we can slip and slide here at Knitty McPurly headquarters. All right, progress and shop news. I had my 5-year shop-iversary sale this week. 5 years I have had KnittyMcPurly.com. I have been designing knits and podcasting for about 8 years. But in terms of having my own website, that has been 5 years. July 11th, 7/11 is my anniversary, and can't believe that. That was great. Thank you to all of you who shopped that sale. I really appreciate it so much. I have a ton of pre-orders. So I have been dyeing yarn like a crazy fiend, and I will continue to dye yarn like a crazy fiend until all of those orders go out. And everyone is very happy with all of their brand new yarn. If you missed it and you're going, wait a minute, what are you even talking about, Devin? I totally missed it. Then go sign up for my newsletter. It is a pop-up on my website. If you have a pop-up blocker, I don't know how to sign up without the pop-up. So if you have a pop-up blocker, just turn the pop-up blocker off and then it'll pop up and sign up for the newsletter, and then you can turn it back on again. And then you'll get the newsletter and you will know about all of these wonderful things. I forgot to talk about the sweater that I am wearing. I was going to say that in the intro, and then I forgot. Okay, this is the Jupiter Crop by Caitlin Hunter. Isn't it so great? I finally finished it. This week, all I did pretty much was I finished the color work. I did this ribbing and then just the little cap sleeves. Super happy with it. You might remember that I modified it a good bit because it is written for, I think, a sport weight yarn. And I went down to a fingering weight because I wanted to use the Fiji fingering because it is half cotton and therefore just perfect for summer knits. So in so doing, I went down 1 yarn weight. So I went down 2 needle sizes and I went up 2 pattern sizes. And I did all the math for that, and I talked about that in a previous episode. I also omitted the sleeve. The sleeve should go down to about here, and I just did a cap sleeve because I wanted it to be cooler. I would like to wear it today, and it's gonna be 1,000,000 degrees with 1,000% humidity today, so I want it to be comfortable. But the fit is perfect. I'm super happy with the fit. It just goes to show, if you wanna change the weight of a yarn for a pattern, you can do the math and that will work out for you. I forget which episode I mentioned that in. I have a whole explanation of how to, I think I did it in the comment section. That should be its own thing. I need to make that its own thing somewhere and make it like a downloadable PDF because that's really helpful. People ask this question all the time. What if I have a pattern and I want to use a different weight of yarn, or I don't get the same gauge? It's really very simple. A little bit of calculating and you can get what you want. And I have a plan to do a project along those lines, and I thought it would be fun to kind of walk you through that. I'm at the very beginning stages of it, and I'm going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Okay, so In addition to finishing the sweater, I also knit another hat for little baby Constantine. I don't have it with me because Gigi is wrapping it right now. But basically what I did, when I knit the yellow hat, I cast on the number of stitches for the sock head hat, which I'll link that pattern down below, for the baby size, because I used a fingering weight and that came out perfect. However, this yarn was a good bit thicker. I think it said it was a sport weight, but it was really almost, it could have been even a DK, like somewhere between a sport and a DK. And so I cast on 96 stitches, and it's a good size. Like, it's not a newborn size, but I feel like he'll be able to wear the hat with the jacket. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in the Gigi section, we'll show both. I cast on 96 stitches and I did a 1x1 rib for the whole hat. Now, when I got to the decreases, I really wanted them to look tidy and nice and intentional, and you just want the decreases to look natural and disappear and be beautiful. I actually, on Tutorial Tuesday, filmed this little video for Instagram, and so in case you missed it, here it is again.
Hi knitters, sometimes when we are working a 1x1 rib and we need to decrease, we want it to look like that rib just stopped existing. That column just disappeared. So here is how you can do that. Work to a purl stitch, then you're going to put your right hand needle into these next two stitches as if you are going to knit them together, and then you're going to slide them off. Got a little fuzz there. Bring your yarn to the front, purl the next stitch, and then you're going to take the two stitches that you slipped and pass them over, and you will have a beautiful decrease, and you can continue to work your knit purl. So there's your knit, there's your purl, and there's your knit.
Welcome to Baby Knits with Gigi. Yay! Here we are. We are all ready to go to Maggie's baby shower. So we had to film this right away to show you, because then Gigi's got to go wrap these things up.
Yep. Okay, so first I'm going to show you Mom's baby hat to go with the Ferrari jacket.
So this is just like the other hat that I made. And I've already, I've already talked about this, and I showed how I did the decreases at the top, and we folded it over, and I just used the same,
like a little beanie.
Yeah, this is a Hobby Lobby yarn that's like a sport weight that we got to do the Ferrari jacket. Now,
which
this is
okay. I don't remember what we showed them last.
It didn't have the zipper. It didn't have the patches.
It did have the logo.
It did. You showed the logo. It was curling. You couldn't really see it.
So now there's a zipper and the logo's on the side. This is what it looks like. And
so Gigi, you saw where it said Ferrari before, and then she put in a zipper.
Here, let me like widen it like that.
And the patches that we ordered from France.
Yeah, the guy was super nice about it.
They
got lost at sea, and then he was like, "Oh, I'll just send you another one."
Yeah, and so they finally arrived just in time, like
just
2 days ago.
Like 2 days ago.
Yeah, so there is the Ferrari jacket with the matching hat. He is going to be the most just
gangster,
baller,
little
awesome
white boy. I don't know.
Named
Constantine. Who's that? Oh, it's my boy Constantine. I feel like you gotta go by Dean, or else you're just immediately adorable.
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
That is awesome, Gigi.
Yep.
Looks so good. Oh, another thing is that August's color of the month.
It is, I think, her best color of the month she's done so far.
It inspired Gigi
so much
to knit socks.
That I'm making socks, which you will see next week. And so if you...
No.
2,
maybe 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Because I just happened to be early for this one because I have wholesale orders.
Oh, yeah, because it's not August yet.
No. So August 1st
coming.
it'll be out, but we'll have like finished socks to show you by then.
Yeah. And so if you decide, I don't like August, I just won't buy one this year, you just have bad taste, which is okay. It's okay to be wrong and have bad taste, but you do. So just throwing that out there. You got 3 weeks.
To think about it.
And decide, look into yourself and think, do I have bad taste? And if you see August and you're like, meh,
you
have your answer.
Sorry.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.
Yay.
I'm so happy with how these little hats came out. You can a lot of times take a free pattern and use it kind of as a recipe. And especially if you're an experienced knitter and you know what will happen with different needles and yarn and stitch counts. The reason I picked 96 stitches is because it's a multiple of 12, and I knew doing the decreases would be super easy. Because each decrease is a double decrease, so I would use 3 stitches to do it. So for example, I had 96 stitches, so I was going to do the decreases based on the 8 sets of 12. So what I would do is knit 9 and then work the decrease, and that would take that down to 1 stitch. And then I would just knit 3 more rows, or work in rib for 3 more rows, and then do another set of decreases. So that would be knit 7 and then work the decreases. So is that right? Yeah, knit 7. So anyway, it came out super great. So happy with that. All right, moving on to the topic of the week. I got a sweatshirt from the university where my daughter is going to school. Okay. This is a very basic sweatshirt, all right? It has a split hem. It just fits really cute. Let me show you how it fits. It has a split hem. It's very, very wide. It has almost no shaping. And it's a drop shoulder. It has kind of a round neck with the triangle and a really wide sleeve. And I just really like the shape and fit of it. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to make myself a sweater based on the measurements of this sweater? And I thought we could do it over a couple of weeks where I show you the process. If you have something in your closet that you love the shape of, the way it fits, you can knit that. Now, depending, and we're going to talk a little bit more about darts when we get to the comment section, depending on the shaping and how complex a garment it is, it will be easy or hard. This one will be very, very easy because it's just a really simple shape. I think what I'm going to do is do it bottom up with the split hem and then join to work in the round this far, and then work the front and work the back, seam it at the top, and I'll probably just pick up the sleeves and knit from the armhole. But I want to show you how you can make a pattern to make a garment just like one in your closet. So stay tuned. Over the next couple of weeks, I will be showing that. I grabbed a skein of Dubrovnik DK because I thought DK is just the right weight. And I happened to grab the color Meadow, matches my plant, because this is what I had just ready to go. And this is my swatch as I'm knitting it. You can see it's curling every which way. But I'm almost done with this. And what I'm going to do with the swatch is get the gauge that I will be using to make the sweater. So I'll be talking about that next week, how to measure your gauge, how to use those measurements and the measurements of the garment to create your pattern. So stay tuned if you're interested in that. Okay. Moving on to the comment section. Ruth Ann Bull says, another great podcast. The agave sweater is all over. What a beautiful sweater. I ordered yarn on Monday and had it in my hands on Friday. That is amazing. Thanks for such great service. Yay, Ruth Ann. I am so glad to hear that. That makes me very, very happy. Yeah, the agave sweater is a great pattern. We talked about this last week. I bought the pattern. It was like, I saw it and I bought it. I didn't really think, but I haven't cast it on yet. I think part of what's stopping me is I can't pick a color. I don't know. I originally was going to do it in bougie, but I thought it would be really beautiful in something like Meadow. I have green eyes too, so something like Meadow would be nice, but I already have a sweater in Meadow, but it's a winter sweater. So all of these, the color decision has got me stymied right now, but I'm not surprised that everyone loves it because it is really beautiful. And this designer is new to me. I forget her name. I talked about her last week. She's the designer of the agave sweater. I'll link it down below in case you're interested, but seems like a really great designer. I would love to see her other designs. The Knitting Wanderer said, wow, that crochet dress is stunning. Now I want to make it for my future daughter-in-law. That would truly be a labor of love to crochet a wedding dress out of crochet thread. Wow, that would be amazing. I would love to see it if you decide to do that. Mona says, I love the color of the month. Yes, USA. How are you, Mona? Did you figure out how to post your sock? Mona asked on Instagram, how do I post a picture of my sock? And my daughter, Alexis, went in and very kindly and succinctly explained it so well. So hopefully that was helpful for you, Mona. Oklahoma, Texas, Sheep Lady said, I've tailored garments in fabric, but never tried incorporating darts into knitted garments. Neither have I. So I hesitate to even talk about it too much because I'm going on the experience and knowledge of other people because I've never done it either. She says, horizontal darts seem like turning a short row heel to me, but with more gradual decrease and increase. In fabric, the slant of the bottom and top of the dart are often not the same angle. That would be new to me. I haven't seen ones like that. Whenever I have done darts in fabric, it's usually a fold, not necessarily a cut. You might cut it later, but you know. She says, be sure to measure the vertical distance from under arm circumference to full bust circumference. Ideally, the dart will stop short of the point of the bust and vary slightly below. This is tough, and a lot of you recommended patterns that have detailed directions for how to put darts in, which is definitely the way to go. People who are experienced at darts, definitely, and I will put a list of the patterns that are mentioned here in the comment section or in the description box so that you can refer back to them if you're interested in patterns that show you how to put darts in garments. Colette says, I just finished the Tolsta tee by Rebecca Creeby, I don't know, with bust darts for a D cup. Was very easy to follow the instructions and would be easily incorporated into any pattern. This is a great thing for me who has a full bust on a smaller body. I always hate having a top fit fine over my bust with the excess fabric hanging like a tent off the balcony. Makes me look double my actual size. Yes, that is no good at all. You need to have it come in a little bit so that it looks flattering on your body and it fits and you feel comfortable and confident in it. Julie J said, hi Devin, I knit the Perfect Polo by Hinterm Stein and she uses short rows to add a bust dart for a full bust. It was very straightforward. Awesome. Dilly Dahlia said, oh wait, that's a different topic. I wanted to stick with the darts. Shayna H said, most knitting patterns are sized for a 2-inch difference between the high and full bust. I think saying most knitting patterns is maybe a little bit broad. Some are, but not necessarily all. Anyone bigger should think about adding bust darts. Also, horizontal bust darts are usually created using short rows to make an almond shape. If you're going to do horizontal darts, you have to commit to a particular bra or the dart may end up higher or lower than you expected. I recommend Kim McBrien Evans patterns for how to do vertical darts, which are my preference. Good. Janie Burks said, look at Kate Oates' Perfect Tee Handbook for Darts. She explains it well. And I went and looked this up because I thought maybe it was like a book, but it's not. It's just basically a pattern. So if you go over to Kate's website, again, I'll link it below. The Perfect Tee Handbook is basically a pattern that has, it looks like a recipe with all different types of customization options so that you can get the fit that you want. All great suggestions. Lisa B said, I saw Beth McDonald showing the agave sweater. I too bought the pattern and have a gorgeous green fingering weight yarn to hold double on the way to make it. I'm so excited to see yours. Thanks for your podcast. I don't have a knitting crowd except for my friends on YouTube. Hope you have a great week. Me too, same here. I don't really have, like, all of my regular friends are muggles. They don't knit. So sadly, I've tried to teach them, but they resist. Kathy says, hi Devin, years ago at a Stitches convention, I took a class from Amy Herzog. She taught how to knit a sweater to your body and wrote several books on the topic. Awesome. She always said to pick a pattern based on your high bust, not full bust, because that will give you the best fit through the shoulders. Super, super smart. She then explained how to do increases for larger busts and waist shaping. I don't always use her techniques when I knit a sweater, but every time I do, I'm very pleased with the results. So we'll have to look into Amy Herzog's books on the subject because it sounds like that's a great resource too. Milena D said, another reason I'm terrified to knit myself a sweater, and I've been knitting for a while. Increase, decrease, dart, sounds like blah, blah, blah to me. Increase where? How far down? At what points around? But then will the sweater be baggy in the waist because it fits in the bust? It's like reading a scientific formula for me. You know, if that's the case, then find like an off-the-rack sweater, a pattern that will fit you the way it is written, and that way you can get some experience without having to deal with all this stuff. Something really, really simple, like the sweatshirt that I just showed. There are knitting patterns out there that exist, or something like the Diggory tee that's just a straight up and down t-shirt. But, you know, I don't know. I'm not sure what your fit situation is, because some people are just easier to fit off the rack as the pattern is written, and other people are going to want more customization, in which case you should try one of these patterns that we mentioned that have those options. Emily over at Knock Knit said, can Katie Bell, Gryffindor Chaser, please share her favorite tea cozy pattern? Because I'm also a tea drinker and have looked for tea cozy patterns, but I can't seem to find one I love. That's a good suggestion. Yeah, I would love to hear what pattern you used, Katie, to make that tea cozy. I know you didn't use a pattern. I know you riffed it, but what patterns have you used that you really liked? I made a tea cozy a while back and I really liked the pattern, but again, it's been 10 years ago now, so I don't remember. Also, Emily sent me this cool microphone. Look at this awesome thing. Thank you so much for this, Emily. I am not using it today because I have to figure out how to connect it to my recording equipment. Wires have to like connect. I don't know. I gotta figure it out. But I plan to do that. That is awesome. Okay, in the wild. Speaking of Emily over at Knock Knits, you should follow her on Instagram if you don't already, because she's got a lot of fun stuff that she posts. She has knit a pair of socks out of my sock sets every month since January. So she made this little video that she put on Instagram of all of her socks. Isn't that awesome? And she used Summer Lee's knitting patterns. Oh my gosh, they are so, so good. I cannot wait to see the second half of the year. Thank you so much for doing that, Emily. I really appreciate it. It's so great for us all to be able to see that. It's awesome. Another lovely podcast watcher named Anne used her balm tin as a needle holder. She put a little like a coin magnet on the top, and then she can stick her stitch markers and her yarn needles to it, and then they don't get lost. That is so smart. You guys are so smart. That's why we have this podcast, so we can just all pour our ideas into it and share with each other. It is great. All right, moving on to knitting fantasies. Once again, I am on the cutting edge. Like, it's so rare that I'm ever on the cutting edge where I like notice right when something happens. Summer Lee has put out 3 new sock patterns. You can find these on Ravelry, but if you want to buy them off Ravelry, you can get them on her website. So I will link Summer Lee's website down below. I took these pictures from Ravelry before I realized that she had them on her own website. She has 3 new pairs of socks, 3 new sock patterns. And if you want them, you should go get them right now because they are 25% off through Sunday, July 21st, 2024. If you're watching this later, you missed the sale. But they're only a $5 pattern. Like, it's a $5 pattern. Right now it's $3.25. I went and picked one up. These are the little boxes socks, the little dots, and the little checks. So it was a hard choice which one to get. Gigi talked me into the little checks. Aren't they so cute? The pictures are just so good. Look at those. Like, there's like a gingham one, and I love this kind of rainbow. It reminds me of like the Vans that all the kids are wearing. We have several pairs of those at my house because they are the thing. But it was a tough call between this and the dots. This picture is really good too. Oh, just so, so great. Summerlee's socks. I'm telling you, I'm dedicating next year to socks. I'm gonna have 12 pairs of socks by the end of next year. And you can too if you wanna join in the League of Extraordinary Sock Knitters for next year. Stay tuned if you're interested in that. It's gonna be great. Anyway, I love all of these sock patterns. She does such a good job. She writes in such a detailed way, and her presentation is so crisp and simple and beautiful. So if you're interested in those sock patterns, go pick up one of those. All right, so here's what happened. I have a story from one of my most prolific knitting story providers, Rachel. Rachel, thank you so, so much. Rachel sees knitting stories all the time, and she is so kind in her willingness to share them with me so that I can share them with you. This is my last one, folks. I had like a backlog of them that I had been going through for the past few months, and I am out of knitting stories. So if you don't send me a knitting story, I will not have one for next week. Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com. Send me your funny, ridiculous, hilarious, humiliating, any knitting story that you would like to share. We've all done dumb things, okay? We have all done dumb things. I like to think that I'm fairly open with you about the dumb things that I do, and we can share these and we can laugh about them. And sometimes that just makes you feel so much better about that dumb thing that you did. So send me your knitting story. You can take a video of yourself telling it. You can send it in as an audio recording. You can type it out and I will read it for you. I would love to share it. Send it to me. Rachel, send me this story. Thank you again, Rachel. Here is what she said. This past weekend, my husband and I were in the process of moving his mom and stepdad from Pennsylvania to about 20 minutes away from us in Southeast Virginia. We took a break this past Sunday to take them to the marina to see our boat and to treat them to lunch at our favorite restaurant right in the marina. It's a tiny restaurant with 4 tables and bar seating inside and seating on the outside deck. Well, all the inside tables were full, so we picked a table outside and tried not to sweat to death in the heat and humidity. Virginia, right? So hot, so humid. As we settled in, of course, I pulled out my current knitting project, the collar of my second Franken sweater, which I had just cast on that morning. Remember the Franken sweater where Rachel combined the elements of several different patterns? Okay, and I proceeded to knit away. A few minutes later, 2 women joined us outside at the bar seating, and I assumed they were married, judging by their wedding rings and the very feminine appearance of one and the very masculine appearance of the second. The masculine woman was heavily pierced and tattooed. She had some cool ink, says Rachel, and I was quite shocked when she asked me what pattern I was working on. I proceeded to tell her that it's a mashup of 3 different patterns that I was combining the elements of to knit a sweater tailored to my body and aesthetic. To my even greater shock, she asked what patterns I was using, so I told her. I was using elements from the Coco Knits Eva cardigan, Joji Locatelli's Longline cardigan, and the Grace cardigan by Jane Richmond. And the woman followed along. She knew what Rachel was saying. Don't you love that? It's like you found your people, right? She then proceeded to tell me that she recently cleaned out her office and rediscovered about 15 whips in various stages of completion, to which I could wholeheartedly relate. Amen, sister. At that point, the server opened the rolling glass door from the inside to take their drink order, so I turned back to the conversation at my table. I suppose the point of the story is to have a little celebration of how you never really know when you're going to unexpectedly meet a fellow knitter who can follow what you're gushing about without their eyes glazing over. So be brave, knitters, and bring your knitting wherever you go. That is great. That almost never happens to me, where you find like an actual knitter, you know, somebody who can follow, like understands about patterns and stuff. We just had our priest over the other day, our old priest. He left, went to a new parish, but he still visits a lot. And he was asking me about the yarn. He's like, why would people buy your yarn when they could just go to like Michael's? And I was like, oh, Father, where does one even begin? Where does one even begin? So, you know, that's how most people are. Like, they don't understand what is good yarn and what is not as good yarn. I mean, yarn is yarn, but some yarn is better than other yarn. It just is. And we as knitters know that. Normally, when I am out knitting, I will get comments, like at the swim meet, people will ask what I'm making and they'll say, wow, you're not even looking at your knitting. But it's rare that you find somebody who's like, I can talk to you intelligently about this because I'm a knitter too. That is awesome. I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for joining me. Send me a knitting story and I will see you guys next week. Have a great, wonderful week of hot weather knitting.